Hey everybody, welcome back to the Game Store Guy podcast. I'm your host Kevin, CC Game CEO of the Game Store Guy. So, what are we going to talk about today? How about price increases? Price increases for all kinds of stuff, controllers, systems, and it's not limited to Switch 2. I know everybody wants to hate on Switch 2 right now, but inflation is a real thing. So, I just got an email from my distributor 2 days ago now. And I did share it on the Discord in VGO, but I'll read it for you guys. This is part of it. It says, regarding Xbox, I just received a call letting me know that Xbox will be announcing a price increase sometime next week. So, as of recording this, I'm recording on 4/23, so sometime next week. More specifically on 4/25. Which will go into effect on 5/1. So, any orders that we had in the hopper prior to today will be honored at the current pricing within standard allocation process. So, like allocation, like they only allow you to, order so many. So somebody can't just go in and just wipe out the whole company, obviously. So they only are going to allocate you so many. And then it says new orders placed today and beyond that will be held until 5/1 when they know what the new pricing will be. Here's what I know so far. Xbox accessories will undergo a cost and MSRP adjustment starting 5/1. Xbox consoles will also undergo a cost and MSRP adjustment starting 5/1, but will be no more than $100 in increase. So Xbox could be going up. I'm going to guess it's $50, but it could be going up to $100 more. So $600 Series X. For the base Series X. That'll be fun. Microsoft's already in third place. I'm sure a price increase would help them quite a bit. And this is like whenever I bring up inflation, I know a lot of people like to shit on me, and I talk about inflation all the time. But for example, the original Xbox came out in 2020. And if you adjust $500 for inflation just from 2020, from the last 5 years, it's the equivalent of $619.84. So the price of the system, so they're making less money, and a lot of times these systems are sold at losses. Now, I don't know if it's still being sold at a loss or even at cost for Microsoft, but all the parts that go into these systems go up, and as inflation is just getting crazy and out of control, that's part of the reason you're seeing some of these price increases. I know nobody wants to hear it, and everybody gets pissed off at me. Don't shoot the messenger, but inflation's a real thing. And then if you, and I'm not even going to get political or anything, but you add on top, some of these tariffs and stuff that are going into effect, prices are going to go up, and it's just the way it is. And it sucks. It sucks for me. It means I'm probably going to sell less systems. But it also, in a weird way, is good for me at the same time because people are more likely to buy older used stuff. So the used market on older game systems are probably going to be even more popular for me. So just for shits and giggles, I went into Grok on X and asked how much does it cost Microsoft to produce the Series X, and it just pulls this from like a bunch of different websites, but it says estimates suggest Microsoft spends around $460 to $550 to manufacture each Xbox Series X. So they're losing about $50 on the high end. They're losing about $50 on each system they sell. On the low end, they're probably not making any money because like my cost on like a Series X brand new is like $480. I make maybe $20, but I don't really because someone uses a credit card, it wipes it all out. But that like $20 is kind of a buffer for shipping and everything like that. So really, Microsoft probably makes jack shit to actually losing about $50 on every Series X they make. And that's based on the bill of materials and the assemblies costs. That aligns with analyst reports from 2020, it was costing them $460 to $550. So it's probably more now. All right, it goes on to say production costs may have risen slightly due to inflation or supply chain issues. Oh, jeez. I wonder who has said that before. Potentially reaching $599 to $699 when including manufacturing and shipping. Exact figures are not publicly disclosed, and costs can vary due to contract yields and economies of scale, of course. So this thing now in 2025 could be costing them as much as $599 to $699. Now, take it with a grain of salt. That is, AI kind of putting that together, and And AI is not there yet, and it's not 100%, but they're usually pretty good when it comes to stuff like this. But man, if Microsoft does raise it $100, it's gonna be kind of crazy. You think people were pissed before? Xbox is, as much as people don't want to admit this, Xbox is kind of the system that the lower income people get because of Game Pass. And speaking of Game Pass, it's a really good deal. I just signed back up for Game Pass because they came out with Oblivion yesterday. And, the physical one, it looks like there's not a date yet. It's probably going to be a month or two off before a physical version's available. And even then, with Microsoft, it's probably only a key on a disc. So I just wanted to play it in. I really don't care if I own that game, even though I do like it. I was more of a Skyrim guy than Oblivion guy. But I figured I'll just get Game Pass for a month. And I'll do some of that. I've been playing Gears of War again, which is fun. Man, was I rusty, man. My shotgun was a little rusty, but it came back to me. But I would love to get back into Gears of War, but I keep running into I'm playing with randoms, and I keep running into where I'm playing against a team that's all coordinated, and I'm playing with random people that are kind of dumbasses, and it's frustrating because I'm pretty good at Gears. And I can hold my own, but it doesn't matter like how good you are if you just get overwhelmed numbers wise in Gears. And I do. I love that game. I can't wait for the next one. But man, and I know I've bitched about this many times. Gears of War should come out like every other year, and same with Halo. It's just one of those tentpole franchises. I feel like Microsoft really dropped the ball on the Gears of War franchise. I mean, it's been way too long since the last Gears of War. Back to inflation. Now you can see why Nintendo is charging $450 for the Switch 2, and I don't care what a lot of people say. There's so many people coming in asking about Switch 2. The majority of the average gamers are excited for Switch 2. I don't think $450 is too much to ask, especially the $500 bundle with Mario Kart. Yes, $80 sucks for the game, but it's bound to happen. I think all games, brand new games in the future, are going to be about $80. I think Nintendo broke the ice, and unfortunately, it's going to be a trend. And I don't like it, but I understand it. Games can't stay at the same price they've been at forever. But anyway, back to Oblivion and Game Pass. So Oblivion came out yesterday. I did play it. I played it for a couple hours. Looks good. Looks good to me on the Series X. I've heard, I don't know. I haven't seen a Digital Foundry breakdown. I'm sure they'll shit on how it plays on console versus PC, which is fine. My PC is about the equivalent of an Xbox Series X. I need to upgrade it. Probably Xbox Series X PS5 level is where my PC's at. So it doesn't really matter if I get it on my PC or my Xbox. The PC though, if I got it on PC, there's some cool mods that I probably could run on it. So maybe I'll load it on the PC and see which one. I guess I'm not too far into it if I wanted to start back over. I wish they had I don't know. I don't think that game does, but that would be awesome if it had cross save. But anyway, I'm digging that game. That was a good job. I have to give Phil some credit, even though he's still in third place, and he's dropped the ball on Gears of War and Halo coming out more often. And I was getting into this about. God, I'm jumping all over the place today. Gears of War and Halo. How I say those should come out like every other year. They should do almost like a Call of Duty thing where they have multiple developers working on it, so it can come out all the time. And I was looking back at when Gears 1, 2, 3, and Judgment came out. So look at this. So Gears of War originally came out in 2006. 2 years later, Gears of War 2. Then we had to wait. So from that came out in 2008. So then we had to wait 3 years for Gears of War 3. So there was a 3-year gap between 2 and 3. But then went back to 2 years. Gears of War Judgment came out in 2013. So in the span from 2006 to 2011, to 2013, we got 4 Gears of Wars. And then 2 years later, the Gears of War Ultimate. I guess I wouldn't. That's more of a remake. But 3 years later, Gears of War 4. So at the most between there, it was 3 years. Then it took 26. So then it was only 3 more years to Gears of War 5. And that was in 2019. So now it's been nearly 6 years. It's gonna go, because Gears of War E-Day isn't coming out till the next year, so 7 years. So it's gonna be 7 years before the next Gears of War from Gears 5, where in the span of 8 years we got 4 of them. Just like, I know they say it takes longer. I don't feel it should take longer. Like, you made Gears 5. I understand. You got a new engine, new system. But once you have that engine created, just make new levels and new, I know you could probably add that online, but man, make a new game. You have the engine to make it. Just use that same engine. Pay somebody to come up with a cool story. It shouldn't take 7 years to make another Gears of War once you have that engine made. Come on, Phil. Get your shit together. I guess I really don't have a ton to talk about this week. It's been kind of a boring week for me. Just kind of restocking after Midwest Gaming, printing a bunch of 3D prints and printed a couple more statues and sent them off to Derek, who I do the 3D printing with, to paint. I did another giant Mario RPG statue and another giant Charizard for our next convention coming up. So hopefully I can sell those. I did have a guy come in yesterday. It was like the first time ever being in the store, and I think it was like around like 1 in the afternoon, and the sort of shit, like, it pisses me off, but it doesn't at the same time. First time ever being in there, seemed like a nice guy, but people don't realize like how rude they are sometimes. Like, he was looking around and saying, how cool the store, which he did give us compliments, so I gotta say that. But then, since there was like nobody in there at the time, which no store is always like that. There's times when, there's a lot of stores where there's just times where there's not people in. And it doesn't mean just because that one instance where you came in and there was nobody in the store that's like a snapshot of how the store is all the time. And he made the comment, he's like, "Oh, you guys are sitting on a gold mine here. You should sell it online." I go, "Well, we do quite well." And he's like, he looks around, and like kind of insinuating there's nobody in here. And he's like, "Oh." And I go, "We've been in business for 21 years. We do quite well here in the store. I don't really need to sell online. Therefore, I don't. I try to avoid it if I can." And he just seemed kind of dumbfounded that I said that. And I've never seen him before. It was his first time in the store. So, I hope he didn't take it the wrong way, but it is kind of annoying. It's kind of just like, it's kind of a backhanded compliment when you can't just be nice and tell the store owner, "The store looks great, it's cool," or whatever. You have to say, "Oh, how you'd really make money." You try to tell somebody, a business person who's been in business for 21 years, and you've never been in there before, how they can improve their business. But anyway, I seem to get that a lot, especially from new customers. And, to them, they probably just want to shop online. They don't want to go out in person. But I still, I do really well. I still like having the in-store I don't know. I like the experience of shopping in-store, and I like meeting people, and I like talking to people. And for the most part, I don't like some people, but I still like the in-store experience more. And I don't like selling online. I like buying stuff online, but I don't like selling online, dealing with assholes that say they didn't get it. There's just so many scammers out there, and it's just a big pain in the ass to sell online. And I used to do it a lot, but it's not worth it to me anymore. I'd rather just do it in person or sell it at conventions on the weekends, or and I don't even have to do that. So my business is doing fantastic, and it's just, I don't know. I guess this is just a rant about when people they issue backhanded compliments, like they think they're complimenting you where they're really kind of being assholes. And the other thing that happened this week, well, first of all, I've gotten a lot of good reviews lately, which is awesome. But I got one that, the guy gave us like a good review on everything, except he gave us 3 out of 5. This is a Google review. And what was funny about it is he liked the staff, he liked everything. He said our prices were a little high. That was his complaint. And I remember this guy because he was like looking at a retro game, and he asked like why the price was what it was. And, I told him the price is this because of the condition. It's like in mint condition. He's like, oh, well, price charting has it as this. And I go, well, price charting is an average. So there's going to be ones that are higher and lower based on condition. This one is like mint, so it's going to be higher. And you know, I showed him, I basically told him, I go, one that sold in comparable shape recently for this, and we're a little bit lower than that. And I go, but price charting is an average, so there's always going to be, that is not an end-all be-all. That is just a tool to be used. And I try to explain, you know, price charting to him. But anyway, so he gives us a 3 out of 5, which is not bad, but it's not great. But what's ironic about it is he's complaining about our prices. And then I happened to just click on him and see some of the other places he reviewed, and he gave a 5 out of 5 star to the local store that's about 30 minutes from us that just went out of business. And in his review, he was saying how good their prices are. And I showed my business partner, we kind of laughed because I was like, well, maybe, you know, the store that has been in business longer and is still around is maybe better at pricing their stuff than the one that you gave glowing review to that just went out of business. And to be honest, to compare us to them, like, we are so much better than that store. And not that he didn't compare us to them, but he loved everything about our store probably more than that store, except for our prices. But you know, price is subjective, and you could negotiate if you want on a price, but I'm gonna tell you probably no, unless it, you know, sometimes I'm overpriced and I'll go down, but nobody ever complains when I'm underpriced, and that's what's funny. But anyway, I think this one's gonna be a short one. I'm done ranting on all things gaming related to the store. Anyway, I think I've done enough complaining about this is just the old man yells at cloud episode here, so sorry about that. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and thanks to everybody who takes the time to listen to me, especially if you got this far into my incoherent ranting. So thanks everybody. Bye.